Getting started with inventory management. To get to the inventory management page, all you need to do is click on the side drawer, navigate down to the inventory tab, select it, and you will be presented with the inventory import section. Follow the step-by-step instructions to import your inventory. You're going to click here to download the Cloudscaff inventory template. Once it's downloaded, all you need to do is navigate to where your inventory template is found. So if I go into downloads, you can see there is my template. I need to open it in whatever software that you use. It may be Google Sheets, Microsoft Excel, or Apple's Numbers. I'm going to open up the template in Google Sheets. That's what I prefer to use. Once I've imported the file, it already comes preloaded with an example template. You can go ahead and delete it. The only requirement is that you do not delete or change any of the column headers at the top. All you need to do is place your data inside the individual columns. So I've already gone ahead and prepared one for us. So here you can see that we have a standard code, categories, sizes, description, location, yard quantity, weights of each individual component, the hire cost of each component, replacement cost of each component, and selling cost of each component. If you do not have any of the information for those items, whether it may be yard quantity, weights, hire, etc., you can leave it blank and you can update it in the system when you do have access to that information. Also, if you do not have a size, for instance, if you do not have a size for this component, that is also okay. You can go ahead and update it at a later stage. Locations are used in order to segment your inventory into their different storage locations. If you only have one storage location, so for instance, yard A, all you would do is put in yard A. If you have multiple storage locations, you can input what their names are. For ease of understanding, I've just inputted yard B. This will allow us to manage multiple inventory yards within the same system. Once you have populated the sheet with all your inventory items, you can simply export it to CSV. So you've got File, Download, Export to CSV. You'll see it will download. And now all I need to do is navigate back to Cloudscaff, follow the uploads process. So I'll click Upload CSV, navigate to downloads. There I can see my CSV that I have now downloaded. Open up that file. It will now import all of my items into the system. You can manage inbound requests from site that are requesting inventory, deliveries, returns, and transfers. Transfers is when you need to transfer inventory from one site to another site, bypassing the return and delivery process. You have the ability to search by code, category, size, description, location. So if I am searching for a specific item, I have the ability to search for just the code, maybe a specific code. If there is a category that I'm trying to search for, maybe a specific size, you have the ability to search for all your parameters. If you have a specific storage location that you would like to search by, you can search by the storage location and that'll pull up all the items within the storage location. The inventory section also has additional columns to allow you to manage your inventory in real time. Let me just quickly delete this. You have a total quantity. So this is all the inventory that you have within your yard. You have what is currently available to be delivered to site. When you deliver inventory to site, it will update your available quantity, reduce the count, and increase your in-use quantity. When you do a return, you also have the ability to allocate items into reserve, maintenance, damage, or loss. The system will also track weight of each component, total weight of all components, your high cost, replacement costs, and selling costs. In the inventory panel, you have the ability to view all your inventory. If you need to add an additional item, but you don't want to use the import file, you can simply click Add New Item. Once you have selected the Add New Item form, all you need to do is complete the component details by filling in all the relevant fields. Once you have completed the form, the add item will become active and allow you to add the item into your component list. So if you do not know the weight, hire cost, replacement cost, or the selling cost of the component, you do not have to input them. Those fields are optional. The last field in the add item form is a trigger called low level alert. This will notify you as soon as your inventory levels fall below a certain percentage that you have set. This will trigger an alert and notify you in the inventory overview. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to set this to 100%. This means that even though our inventory is stocked to capacity and our trigger is set to 100%, the notification will still trigger and the alert will show up. Depending on your requirements and when you want to be notified or when you want the alert to trigger, you would set that to 10%, 25%, however low those levels need to fall before you want to be notified. I'm going to go ahead and click Add Item. And there we can see we've triggered an alert notifying us that we are currently sitting at 100% capacity. If that was set to 25%, if we did a delivery and our inventory alert was set to 25% and we did a delivery of 76 units sent to site, the inventory alert would trigger and display how you see it over here. Let's do our first delivery. Navigate to the top where you see the word delivery, select the tab. It'll open up the delivery section. Here you'll see 5 drop-down boxes highlighting the state that your delivery is in. When we create our first delivery, it will populate in the pending deliveries. When we send our delivery, it will go into outbound deliveries. If we reserve deliveries, it will be stored in the reserved deliveries. Once the delivery has been accepted and received on site, it will shift it over into completed deliveries. And if we need to void a delivery, you'll see all your voided deliveries are there. Once again, looking at the bottom, you'll see the plus button. This means the ability to create something. Let's do our first delivery. At the top, you'll see that there is site information. Here, I can add a site that I would like to send inventory to. I select it. Here are the 2 sites that are currently active. I would like to send to test site 1. Open up test site 1. It pre-populates with all the particular site information, so there's no need to input any data. All the site codes auto-populate and count automatically. The next step, what is required is to input a start date and an end date. So I need the inventory to be delivered on Monday. It is estimated for it to come back in April. End date is an optional field. So if you do not know the end date, you can simply leave that blank. Input any notes that may be required for this delivery. You have the ability to input driver information. So if Joe is collecting it, that is his phone number. Vehicle description you could use for registration, or it could be the size or the type of delivery vehicle. This is optional, as mentioned before, so you do not have to input any information if you do not have it. And what happens now is if I scroll down, you'll see I have access to the entire available inventory list that we recently uploaded. You can search for all your components by code, category, size, name, location. So if, for instance, I'm only looking for items within yard B, for instance, I now have the ability to send items from this yard. I'm going to go ahead and send 25 of these components, 50 of these. And even though this number is set to 0 as available because I didn't include that in my inventory upload list, I do have the ability to send items directly from the panel. I do have the ability to send inventory even though this available quantity shows 0. Cloudscaff does accommodate for negative values, and I'll show you when we do a return how that functions and works, how that updates your system once you completed a return from site. So I'm going to go ahead and send 10. You'll see it does notify me that I cannot exceed the available quantity. I do have the ability to send it, but the system will notify you if you are in excess. I'm going to scroll down. I can see that I've inputted 3 items. That is the total weight that's currently being sent. If I am still waiting for additional information to complete this delivery, I can simply click Update Delivery. What this is going to do is it's storing the state of this delivery. So you'll see over here, if we go out of the deliveries, it is currently stored in a pending delivery. So if I open up the drop down, you will see that delivery is stored there, waiting for additional action to happen. I'm going to go in and open it up. You will see all the information that we inputted is stored. You have the ability to update this information. Hypothetically, let's say the vehicle registration, for instance, had to update. We can update that. You can click this toggle to show you the items that have been selected. If at last minute, potentially we need to add an additional 5 to this delivery, you have the ability to do so and make updates. You can update this throughout the course of the day. When you're ready to send it, that's when Cloudscaff will reduce your inventory counts. When this delivery is ready to be sent, you can download a pick list. This will automatically generate a PDF for you. So I'm going to quickly go ahead and save that, open up the pick list. There you have the ability to see your pick list with your branded to your company logo, all the particulars of that job that's going to go out, if there are any notes added there, and the list that is required for them to go and pick in the yard. You do not need to send this delivery immediately either. You can reserve these items. So if I click the reserve button, what this is going to do, it is going to place those components on reserve. So you can see that it is shifted out of pending deliveries into reserve deliveries. There you can see our reserve delivery is stored and archived. If I navigate back to the overview panel, you'll see my available quantity has reduced. So all the items that we're looking to ship have reduced my available quantity, and it has updated my reserve quantity. If you want to search for it just or filter it by the yard, my reserve column has updated values. My available quantity has reduced its count so that if I need to do an additional delivery, I will not have access to these items in that delivery. If we're now ready to send that delivery, I can navigate back to the reserve deliveries, download the pick list for the team to go and pick the items for delivery. I can unreserve this delivery. Now, I still have the ability to update this delivery before it gets sent. So if this item has reduced back down to 25, for instance, I have the ability to update that before we send it, download an additional pick list if required, and send that to the team to make adjustments. Here, you do have the ability to upload any photographs of the vehicle being loaded, of the components being loaded and counted. So you can use that as a verification that your counts were accurate when loading the truck. I'm going to go ahead and proceed and upload an image of the truck being loaded. This, once again, is accessible through any mobile device, whether it's a tablet or cell phone. The image has now been added. Before I am allowed to send this delivery, you'll see I cannot currently send it because there is no signature attached. I'm going to go ahead and mark this as the person who is going to be sending this delivery, adding my signature to the delivery, and now the grayed out button is now active. I can click send. After I've clicked send, the system will automatically download a delivery note. I'm going to open up that delivery note. It comes once again branded to your company information, all the site particulars, vehicle description, customer information, your company's information, any notes that needed to be added, the entire inventory list that was added to that delivery, the total weights, the first signature, and you can see that this delivery has not yet been received, so it needs a signature receiving the inventory. There is a picture of our truck that has been loaded. Now, if I go out of the deliveries, you will see that it is moved out of a reserved delivery and is now being segmented into a outbound delivery with a notification or a status that it is en route. It has notified the users of that site with the permissions to deal with inventory that there is an inbound delivery en route. I will show you what that looks like. If I open up the navigation section, you can see in the notifications tab that there is a new delivery is en route for site test site 1. Now, if I go into the sites tab and I open up test site 1, you can see if I've got access to the delivery section in a site, I have now received an alert. If I open up the delivery tab, you can see that there is an outbound delivery that is currently en route. When the inventory arrives on site, as the user that is going to be receiving the inventory, I simply need to open up the delivery. It comes pre-populated with all the inventory information. I can check and make sure that the items that I have received are on the delivery. I can take additional photographs of the inventory arriving for accountability purposes. You can see that there is a signature that is attached there, and if Joe is the one receiving this inventory, he can simply sign for it. You can see it is currently grayed out. He does need to attach his signature in order to receive this delivery. There it is attached, the second image. It's currently attaching my signature to the delivery document. It is now downloaded the delivery note for you to see once again. There is the second signature. There is the first image. That is the second image. In our sites, it has updated the inventory section. So you can see all of the inventory that is currently sitting on site and what locations they are coming from. If I go into deliveries, you'll see that the item has moved out of outbound deliveries into completed deliveries. If I go into the notifications tab, you can see it has been received. I've received a notification that it has been received. And if I go into the inventory management section and I go look at deliveries, I can see that it's now moved from an outbound delivery into a completed delivery with all your documents neatly stored and archived. In the inventory overview, you can now see that it is moved out of reserved quantity and in use quantity has been updated, along with ensuring that the available quantities have adjusted and reduced according to how much inventory is currently sitting on site. If I need to check which sites this specific component is sitting on, I have the ability to select the gear icon that is situated next to the component code, and I can view its locations. If it's on multiple locations, you'll be able to see multiple sites that it is currently sitting on, along with a real-time count sitting on each site. If I need to navigate into that site to get a better overview of it, to view all the inventory list there, I have the ability to do so. I also can download a PDF document of the site inventory that is sitting on sites if I need to utilize that for any specific purpose. You also have the ability to generate a delivery through an import list. This simply means that if you download your list out of Cloudscaff into Excel, Google Sheets, Apple's numbers, you have the ability to create a delivery in your dedicated Excel format, and then you'll have the ability to upload that delivery into the system. I'm going to go ahead and show you how that works. So all you need to do is navigate to the deliveries tab, generate a delivery, select the site that you wish to send your delivery to, select your start and end dates as to when you want this delivery to go through. And now here you'll see your traditional format where you have your entire available inventory list. If I click on the top right hand corner, you'll see there's an import button. All I need to do is select the import button and the system will generate a step-by-step process explaining exactly what to do. First, download the list. I'm going to go ahead and download it. It is going to open up in the format that I have available to me. Currently it's Apple's numbers. You will see that it pulls up your entire inventory list and also displays the dedicated available columns. All you need to do is input how many items you wish to send in the delivery quantity column. I'm going to send 5 of these and 10 of these, and that's my list complete. All I need to do is now export it to CSV. I'm going to save this to the desktop. Now I can jump back into Cloudscaff, select the Upload CSV button, find where I saved my exported CSV, select Import, and now what has happened is if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see the items that I have inputted for delivery are now displayed there. I can simply scroll down to the bottom and create the delivery, puts it into a pending state. I need to open up the delivery now. I have the ability to update this delivery, add additional items or remove items to this delivery. I would like to add 5 additional components to the delivery. I have the ability to upload photographs of it once again. I need to sign and attach my signature, and I can send that delivery directly to site. We are going to go ahead and do an additional delivery to site, but this time we're going to do it a little bit differently. We're going to use a site request for inventory that is sent from a user that is on site, sent a list of inventory to the inventory admin for us to then convert into a delivery. I'm going to show you how that works. Essentially, if I'm in a site, we'll go test site 2. This project is just activated and they need inventory to be sent to site. All they need to do is navigate to the inventory tab, see that it is empty, so they need additional inventory items to be sent to site. All they have to do is open up the request tab, and here you'll see pending requests, submitted requests, and approved requests. Once again, create something. So I want to create a request. I can see that all the site information is there. All I need to do is input a start date for when I may require the inventory. End date is optional. Input any notes that may be required. And this is pulling up your entire available inventory list. So here we can see that we would like to use inventory from yard A. We require 50 of these items, 75 of these items, and maybe we don't need any of those items. If you do go ahead and suggest that you need additional, so you need 110, but you can see there's only currently the 100 available, this will allocate it to back order and allow for the inventory admin to manage that, whether they may cross hire an item from a supplier company or a third party. I'm going to go ahead and submit this request. The request has now been submitted. If I go out of here and back into the side navigation, you'll see that there is a notification to say that there is a request that has been submitted. And if I go into the navigation panel and I've got access to the request tab, I can open that up and I can see that there is a request waiting for me to convert into a delivery. I have the ability to open up that request, view the documentation, and either I can void this request and then notify the user on site as to why it has been voided, or alternatively, we can approve this request and convert it into a delivery and then deal with the back order. I'm going to click Approve Request. You can see that it has moved it out of a submitted request into an approved request, and now we have an alert saying that there is a delivery waiting for us. When we open up the delivery tab, you'll see once again in pending that there is a delivery waiting for us to process. It pulls out of all the site particulars, all the information that was brought forward from the request. Here you can input all the driver information. It is optional. So on this one, I'm going to leave it out. Toggle the items to only see the items that they are requesting. And here I can see that they are requesting an additional 10, which we currently do not have as available. Now, there are multiple ways to manage this process. I'm going to quickly update the delivery. This is going to store it. Go out of the delivery tab and into the inventory overview. As an inventory admin, if I want to deal with the back order of the 10 components that I do not have in my total quantities, you could alternatively cross hire them from a third party or a supplier. You can go and add a new item and pre populate it with your third party supplier information. Alternatively, you could find the code that you're looking for or the component that you're looking for, duplicate it, update the information from the yard. This could be hired scaffold flyer. By updating the location to the name or a identifier like hired, you have the ability to sort through the inventory list and search for just those items. You would also be able to track those items on site and see which sites they are currently being used on. Going to duplicate that item, and you'll see that that item has now been added into your list as a location called hired scaffold suppliers. If you have multiple items, you can simply search hired and that item pops up. So I now know I have that amount to deal with. I'm going to edit this component. What I would like to do is I loaded it without a total quantity. So what I'm going to do is scroll down into manage quantities. I'm going to add to the total quantity. I'm going to be purchasing 10 items or renting 10 items. Add that in as a comment. And if I scroll further down, you'll see that there is a log that is being automatically generated. Anytime a component or a piece is brought in, removed, added, updated, sent into maintained, allocated to damage, the system will automatically generate a log history. This will track any movement of any component in the system. So as you can see over here, we added 10 items to the total quantity. The comment has been left, which is coming in on rent. The user that actioned this movement, the time and date that it was created. And this happens for all component movements in the system. Anytime a piece needs to shift around within the system will keep a history of it for you to reference later. Now we can see our hired or our cross-hired item is 10 in total. So as an inventory admin, I can now go into my delivery, view the 10 that are currently on back order, allocate them to this delivery, and reduce the delivery count to 100. And that will remove the back order. That's how you would manage it if a request has a back order. Once again, you have the ability to upload photos. I did show you in the previous tutorial how that works. I'm not going to do that for now for efficiency purposes. I'm going to input my name here because that needs to be allocated into the document and it will activate the buttons in order for me to send. So because I am a super admin, I have access to the send inventory immediately button or the send immediately button. What this means is you have the ability to bypass the standard send delivery process. That is the two-stage acceptance process where you sign to release inventory and you sign to receive inventory. Depending on how your operation or your organization runs, you may just want to send inventory bypassing the two-stage signature process. I will show you how this process works. I can simply click send immediately, click yes. And what this is doing is it's attached my signature to the document saying that I am the one releasing the inventory. It has downloaded the delivery note and sent those items immediately to site. If you go here into your yard quantities, you'll see all of your totals would now have been reduced. Your in-use quantities have updated. And if I would like to check where this hired scaffold supplier or the third-party supplier's inventory is sitting, I can simply click View Locations and then see the inventory. That is currently all the inventory sitting on that site. If you need to return inventory from a site and you are a user of that site, you can simply go and access the return tab in the site. Simply navigate to the bottom right-hand corner to create a return. This will pre-populate with all the site information on the document. All I need to do is set a return date that I would like it to be returned today, put any note field that may be required for the inventory admin to process. Now this shows the entire available inventory list on that site. So you do not need to do a full return, or we can do a partial return. I'm going to go ahead and input, I want to send 50 of these items, 50 of these items, and return 10 of these items. So you can see I'm going to leave 100 on site and 25 of these components. If those components are already in your site storage yard and it is neatly stacked and ready to be collected, you can take photographs of it and upload it to the document. All I'm going to do now is submit that return. What this is doing is it's created a pending return. It has notified the inventory admin that there is an inbound request for inventory to be returned. So if I navigate into the inventory panel, I will then see that there is an alert for a return that needs to be processed. If you open up the returns tab, you will see that there is a return that has been submitted to us. Here is the documentation. I'm going to open up the return, pre-populates with all the site information. I have the ability to update this return if needed. If you are set as a inventory admin, you do have the ability to update this return if required. As the inventory admin, I'm going to go ahead and load the driver information. I'm going to go ahead and toggle the items to see exactly what I need to be returning. And if I am happy with this return, I can simply go down and schedule it for collection. What this is going to do, it is going to notify our user on site that a return has been scheduled and is currently outbound and en route. Here you can see that the submitted return has been shifted down into an outbound return. If I check the notifications, you'll see there are notifications that there's a driver en route. If I go into the site and view test site 2, you can see now as a user of that site, I have an alert that there is a collection en route. When the collection vehicle arrives, I can simply open up the return, view all the information, take photographs of the truck that has been loaded, and all I need to do is sign to release the inventory. The status has now been updated to collected, and the inventory admin also received an alert saying that the inventory has been collected and is currently back en route to head office. When the truck does arrive, you can simply open up that return, whoever needs to process it, view the information to see if the counts are indeed correct. As an inventory admin, when you are unpacking the vehicle, you have the ability to sort the inventory. If items need to be shifted into maintenance, damaged or lost, you can account for them. The remainder, if they are all fit for use and ready for the next job, you can simply leave it blank and click proceed. However, if items do need to be sorted, you can go ahead and allocate them into the different fields. I also have the ability to attach any photographs on receiving the inventory. And all that is required now is for me to sign for the documentation, acknowledging that I am receiving the inventory. Click save, and you can now see I can approve this return. It is now attaching my signature to the documentation. A return note has been generated. It has been shifted from an outbound return into completed returns, and it has also updated all my inventory levels. So those items are now available to go out on a new delivery, and the items that have been allocated into maintenance or damage have been allocated into those various sections. When the component has undergone maintenance, I can simply click on the Edit Component button, and here you'll see I have 5 items in maintenance and 95 that's currently available in the inventory. All I need to do is scroll down to the Manage Quantities. You'll see that you have the ability to move from maintenance back into available. I'm going to go ahead and mark that as the 5 items that have been maintained. Input a comment. move those items, you will see maintain has been reduced to 0 and available quantity has updated to 100. And once again, because this component has undergone a movement, at the bottom in the log history, we have moved 5 items from maintenance to available. The comment, it has been refurbished. The user is Byron and the date and time that it happened. If we navigate back into our inventory section and we filter by maintenance, you can see that there are no longer any items in maintenance. Now I'm going to do a return from the inventory panel. Simply click on the return tab. Once again, click the plus button to create a return. I need to select a site from where I would like to return inventory from. Select the site. You can see Cloudscaff has automatically added the username to the documentation, a return date, any notes as to why I may be returning the inventory, input driver information. This is also an optional field. So for this example, I'm going to leave it blank. And here you can see from the admin panel, I can see the inventory list that's available on site. I'm going to go ahead and do a bulk return. So I'm going to click return all items button. Here you can see that it has updated the return quantities. I'm simply going to scroll down to the bottom and create the return. If you wish to bypass the two-stage signature process for returning inventory, we are not going to click the schedule collection. We are going to approve immediately. So I've created this return. I'm waiting for the truck to arrive back at head office. Alternatively, it may have already arrived and I wasn't aware of a return being created. I can simply create the return now and process the inventory. So you'll see that we've got 10 items being returned here. If additional inventory was purchased on site and was never allocated into the system, but it has been returned with the inventory coming from site, you can simply update the return quantity and Cloudscaff will allocate that into the system as additional items purchased and update your total quantity and available quantity. If I'm happy with this return, I've done the counts, I've uploaded photographs to the return document for accountability purposes. I can click approve immediately. And what this has now done is it has downloaded a return note, updated all of our inventory levels with the returned items and the component where we added the additional 5 items that were delivered directly to site that were not originally added and sent to site through a delivery process have been accounted for. I'm going to navigate into the component settings. If I scroll all the way down to the log history, you can see that we have added 5 items to the total quantity, more inventory return that was on site, and there is the return as a reference to show where those items originated from, the user that completed the return, and the time and date that it was added. If you need to transfer inventory from one site directly to another site, bypassing the return and delivery process to site, you can use transfers. You'll see if you navigate to transfers, select the transfer tab, create a transfer. Now, this will pull up the section as to which site you wish to transfer from. I'm going to go ahead and select test site 1. I just want to ensure that there's inventory on there. So you can see test site 1 currently does not have any inventory. If I select test site 2, I still have inventory on that site. So I'm going to transfer inventory from test site 2 into test site 1. If you scroll down to transfer to, this is the site we will be transferring inventory to. I'm going to go ahead and select test site 1. And I scroll down into transfer information. Here I'm going to input the date that I wish the transfer to happen, any notes as to why the transfer needs to take place. Scroll further down to the inventory information. Here I have the entire inventory list of test site 2. I'm going to go ahead and transfer 5 items from this component and 10 items from this component, and I'm going to transfer it. If there's any need or requirement to upload additional documentation or photographs as to why the transfer needs to take place, you can go ahead and upload it now to the document. I'm going to create a transfer. This is going to put those components into a transfer state. All I need to do is go in here as an inventory manager or admin, review the documentation, and transfer the inventory. You can see that the transfer has taken place and is now marked that document as complete. If I go into the inventory overview and I search for one of the components that we transferred and I search for its location, you can see now that we have two locations where this inventory item is currently positioned on, and its real-time counts. And we just transferred 5 into that site. If I navigate into that site, open up inventory, you will see that we now have the 2 items that we transferred into that site. Inventory adjustments or reconciliations. After you've completed a stock take, you have the ability to adjust all your inventory levels in bulk. All you need to do is navigate to the bulk update button, select it, follow the step-by-step process to update your inventory list. Select the download list. This will download a Cloudscaff Excel template. You can open it in Google Sheets, Microsoft Excel, or Apple's Numbers, whichever is your preference. Once you have imported the template, you will see a series of columns: ID, code, category, size, name, location, total quantity, available quantity, and edit quantity. It is essential that you do not remove any of the header columns and also any of the IDs that are attached to each component. This is what the system uses as a reference point. So if you remove any of these IDs, this process will not work. In order to make an update after a stock adjustment or a reconciliation, all that is required to do is go to the edit quantity. If you need to add items into the quantity, all you need to do is add a positive number. So I'm going to add 20 into this component. After reconciliation, we found out that our total quantity of this component is only at 80 instead of 100. All I need to do is add a negative number to this. So I'm going to reduce my total quantity by 20 to achieve 80. And you can do this for your entire inventory list. Once you have completed the recon, you can simply export this file to CSV, navigate back into the Cloudscaff software, and upload the CSV. You will notice that our inventory has updated. We now have 20 items linked to this component, and we have reduced this component by 20.